notice when they fall, you got no way to absorb the shock. And you just hit and you're just...
The new movie called
like
Shock.
a dead fish in the water.
Okay, do that a couple times, and the whole idea is to think about, well, what if he does this? What if he does this? How can I get out of it? And the whole idea with our system of martial arts is that we can switch from here to here to here because we know karate, we know judo, we know jiu-jitsu, we know kempo, and we know bo. We know the soft technique, and that's the whole idea is that we're not, you know, it's like I'm not coming to a gunfight with a knife, you know. I'm coming to a gunfight with an M60. I got, you know, grenade launchers, and that's the same thing with your martial arts. Your martial arts is such that, you know, you can do all of these. And the one last thing that we haven't talked about in self-defense is that, let's say you're in a situation where you could hurt somebody. Discretion is the better part of valor. In other words, Joe and I get into it. He got me mad, right? Joe, I'm going to kick your butt. Next thing you know, here comes Joe's wife's gun. And Joe's wife happens to have 35 brothers in their family. So in other words, it's not always the best alternative to do it. But if you're in a situation where someone's backed you into a corner and you have to defend yourself, Master Reyes told us, look, outside of Susun, where the school used to be, they were walking down the street. And this guy, Master Reyes had his family. This guy started to mess with him. Leave us alone, leave us alone. And they started to mess with Mrs. Reyes, and Master Reyes just wasted it. So what he used his art was, not for his ego, not to show the rest of the town that he was a bad guy, but he used it to protect his loved ones. Somebody comes over and grabs one of your children, that's when you use martial arts. But don't always think that you're a tough guy, because there can be ramifications from being good. You can mess a guy up, next thing you know, you're up against the Crips, the Bloods, the Hells Angels, or some organized group. Or let's say you're just up against a bunch of guys from Virginia and shit, and their family, Filipino attitude, there's no such thing as water under the bridge. If I worked in the city and I almost got into it with a guy that was working in the laundry room, and the other guy came over and said, leave him alone. I go, why? I said, I'm going to waste this guy. He goes, it's our philosophy that we will never forgive. If you hurt one of us until we get you back, you could be 69 and I could be 73 and I get that one opportunity. Some people's attitudes are not, oh, it's okay. So in other words, your art is so powerful, you should use it with discretion, just like you would a gun. If you pull a gun on somebody, you better plan on using it. Because the moment you pull the gun and then you put it down, then this guy's mad. He takes the gun, turns it back on me, boom. So there's so many things to think about. And that's what we wanted to do today, is that we wanted to get you to think a bit about your art. Because you guys have good fundamentals, you guys train hard during the week, but we wanted you to think a little bit. Can I go in? Can I go out? What are all the different aspects? And you've seen today how we went from a punch to a counter to a flip, and then how we went from the knife technique to an aikido technique to where it's just a simple switch. Let's do one last thing, and then that's the two-man attack. And we'll make it a three-man attack. And the thing that I want to show you, is that when you get into a multiple attacker situation, you've got two things that you can do. Either one, you can be an animal, or two, you can be a calculated fighter. Now what we teach, like in number one, three-man attack, this person goes outward block, hit. Now this person's coming. I don't want to block in, because then I've got problems, because I want to go through, so I go here. Boom. Now this guy's punching, and I want to go this way, and boom, and then I'm running out of the bar. Or you're running out of the situation. What you don't want to do, though, is put yourself into a situation to where when this person punches, is that I block here, and then now I've gone too far this way. I try to turn around, I'm hit here, and then I try to come back here, and I'm hit here. You see, I made the wrong move every time. But in a situation like this, just a hammer fist. Boom, boom. And then from here, you notice I'm leaning back on her. Now I'm using her as protection. And I block out. Boom. And then this guy comes. Boom, boom. Every technique is set up to where one moves into the other. It's like playing chess. This is another thing Master Reyes said. You guys should remember this, because it applies to everything I've ever done in life. In real estate, people tell me, how do you end up getting deals like this? Master Reyes says, he goes, don't shoot the one ball. He goes, you're thinking about the one ball, the two balls, going to come back, the three balls, the four balls going here, the five balls coming here, and then here comes the white ball. Nine ball, white. That's the whole idea with karate too. I wasn't thinking about the one ball here. There's the one ball, boom. But look, I got a bad shot for the two ball. But what I did is I covered myself, so if he's too strong from here, I can side kick him, and then as if this guy comes in, boom, boom, boom. Now here comes the rest. There's the 4 ball, the 5 ball, the 6 ball, the 7 ball, the 8 ball, and then I'm gonna come around on the 9 ball. Boom! So you see what I mean? Every move is calculated. So you guys have to learn how to incorporate that philosophy into your life, into the work that you do, the homework that you do. The teacher says, this is pretty good, but how did you do this? Well, I did this, knowing I was going to review the paper and do this, and I was going to end up with this finished product. The teacher goes, I'm impressed. But that was your game plan. And that's the same thing that you're doing right now. When we talked about earlier from here, the guy punches here. Well, I messed up on the 1 ball. Boom, it's the 2 ball, I'm already out, you know. But on this situation, it's here, and this guy goes, oh, watch this. What I'll do is I'll block the ball in the corner pocket to where he can't shoot. Here comes the other one. And I said, no, you're not. You just gave me position for the 9 ball. Now I'm gonna take them both. So you go, boom, boom. Think about that. Think of all these different things, and that's what makes Kajukenbo the art that it is. You can try it. No, try it. You got an idea? Try it. That's the thing. Yeah, and you know something else too, what you were doing, if a guy doesn't, if you block like this guy does an uppercut, and he wants, watch this. With energy, you can't destroy it. All you can do is to redirect his path. And the best thing to do with energy is to go with his path. So if he's coming from here, let him come up, and take him right on through that way. When you do your advance counter and a guy punches, a white belt does this. A white belt goes 1, 2, or even more than this. Blocking, hard block. He meets it and he goes out with it. Then as you start to get a little bit smoother, it starts to go like this. But then as you start to get truly advanced, you pivot. And it goes this way. And as the guy keeps moving in, boom, so in other words, I didn't stop his energy at all. What I did is that instead of blocking this way, what I did is that I'm actually encouraging it. And watch, as the hand comes here, it can just as easily come around. Boom! And then same thing, and from here, if I want to follow it through, just bring it back around. Boom! What? So from here, the energy, the path comes this way, keep coming down, boom, just bring it around, boom.
One thing like we was talking last night around the fire from you guys over there, is whenever he makes that block, like he was just doing, he doesn't hardly even touch the person. You'll be surprised that whenever you get everything lined up right, you just hardly even touch the person and it's gone. You even get amazed, it'll amaze yourself sometimes when you do a technique that's right. It's kind of a little taste of the things that are meant to come. They'll be gone and all of a sudden you ain't really did anything, even though you did it, you had no intention of knowing that it would be that good. You know, and that's what you strive to get, is the ultimate of each movement, so that you know at the other end of the road you're going to become like that. Like Chief Roelle was saying a few minutes ago, show no emotion. You know, whenever you're dealing with somebody, and this guy's mad, and he wants to show no emotion. You know, you don't want to egg the person on because you might not want the situation to develop. Amen. But you don't want to get the person, let them become overconfident.
You don't want to put them on the defensive either, because if you have an ace in the hole, when you want to use it, it's like this guy's doing this, and he's doing this, and he's doing this, and all of a sudden you go, and he goes, oh, hey, brother, I didn't know you had a gun. Yeah, I didn't think you did. Otherwise, you wouldn't put your finger in my chest.